Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Nitsan, I'm a filmmaker and photographer, and today I want to talk to you about the Pixapro LED100D. And now this is, in my opinion, by far the best light that you can get right now. And now, of course, I could be wrong about that, but if you do know of anything better than this, then please do let me know in the comments below, because I always want to hear about things that I could improve my kit with. But as far as I know, nothing even comes close to this. And now there are lights that cost a lot more than this, like £1,000 and upwards per light. But even a lot of the things that cost a lot more than this aren't actually as good as this. This thing costs around £300 per unit. If you wanted to buy a full kit of these, that would cost a lot, but it would be an amazing kit. If you were to only add one of these, it would be an amazing addition to any lighting kit. I'm gonna go over all the different things I like and the things I don't like about this, but before we get started with the review, first note to make is that I don't work for Pixapro and I don't work for anyone else, so you can see my full ethics statement in the link down below. Second note to make is that I have a part 2 of this coming up. I'm going to be investing in a full kit of these. Once I have that kit, I'm going to show some lighting setups and show, the various uses. That will be a part 2 because in any case, it's going to be too long for one video. Third note to make is that there is a written review, which you can see in the link down below on my blog. And that has some additional information, like there's some close-up photos of this. There's a list of things to get that, what I would recommend as a kit of accessories to get together with these. Up until the point where part 2 is posted, just have a look at the links down below and you'll find some examples of, what I've been shooting with this thing so far. Let's get started. I have a list of things that I like and don't like. So a list of things that I like and things that I think could be improved. First of all, build quality is lovely and perfect and no complaints. I've opened it up and I've had a look inside and how it's built and how it's connected and the electronics, and lovely, perfect, great. Next up, it's not fragile. So any light that I use can't be fragile unless it's studio only. If I'm never moving it out of the studio, fine, maybe it could have some glass in there, but when I need to take stuff out, can't have glass. I can't be carrying glass around with me whenever I can avoid it. So there's no glass here. It's not fragile and stuff. It's an LED. It is powerful. Very, very, very powerful. So at 1 meter away from the bulb, right in the middle of the light right there. So now at minimum power, we're getting 4,500 lux, which is a lot of light. And when we go up to maximum power, over 15,000 lux. So that is just, holy crap, this thing is bright. Having that much power means that I can balance this thing out with sunlight and overpower sunlight when needed. When it's, a lot of the time I have sunlight coming in through the window with a lower power light, it's very difficult to overpower that. And in a lot of cases, even direct sunlight, you can overpower with this, which is great. And obviously, that depends on the modifiers that you use and how close it is to your subject, but it is ridiculously powerful, and I love that. Dimmability. So any light that I use must be dimmable. I won't use lights that aren't dimmable. Use this thing to dim it, and it's nice and easy to dim. I don't have to be like pressing little buttons to get it to dim. The light has to be high quality. It can't have stupid color casts and things like that. I really don't want to have to start adding gels to correct lights, except for effects lighting, when I want to just put a big blue gel on there and just have, have a blue light for an effect. So this thing gives us perfect light, the closest to white, perfect daylight without color casts that I've seen so far. And so great with regards to color and light. And then again, we go over to the point that any light I shoot with must be daylight color balanced. That is because I have to be able to mix this with daylight, with actual daylight, sun. The power cable here is just a standard cable, which means it's easily replaceable. Next up is that it must be quiet. So over here we have the mic, coochie, coochie, coochie. If I shut up for a second. So that light, as you can hear, is quiet. Now, it was a little louder than this when it came from the factory. I did modify this, but the great thing is that the modification to do this is easy and simple. I'm going to post a separate video about that. Meanwhile, you can see in the written review down in the links below, I explain that, but basically, it's an easy modification compared to other lights which make a lot of noise. Like on some other ones, I changed the fan. It wouldn't sense that its own fan was connected, and then it refused to work. So here, it accepted the new fan, and it's running even quieter than it was from the factory. This is 1.5 foot with the fan turned on. As a noise comparison with some other lights, you start wondering if you're doing the vacuum cleaning. So yeah, I can't work with anything like that. It's pretty obvious. Like this, even at this distance from the microphone, which I normally wouldn't even have. Normally I would have this, and I would have my lighting modifier, and then I would have some space between the lighting modifier and my subject, and then that's where the microphone would be, somewhere near the subject. So if at this distance I'm fine, then at that distance where the microphone's going to be away from the light, no problems. And with the original, before the modification, before I changed the fan on this, there wasn't any big audio issue. So it's something that could still be picked up potentially by some microphone and some setups, and depending on the distance. But even if it was picked up, it was really, really quiet, and so wasn't a big issue. Something that is very modifiable with very high quality modifiers, meaning, you know, something that would change the shape of the light, and at a good price, because the lighting modifiers, they have a bunch of different ones from Pixapro, and they have them at all different kinds of prices, but all of those are great prices. So they start from, I think, like 20-30 pounds for the ones that don't have the quick opening option, which I'll show you in a second. And then for the really awesome top of the range, largest ones that they do, it's still way cheaper than anything else that I know of. So 120 centimeter octadome like this, which is freaking amazing, with the grid, with the option, you know, with the removable grid, that's like 60 pounds. So unbelievable pricing on these amazing, amazing lighting modifiers. Another example here is this Softbox. By the way, these are also really lovely and lightweight. So both of these are, they have this sort of, I forgot what they call it, a quick opening or quick setup or whatever. So with both of these, if I get my fingers in the right position there, so there we are. So they open in seconds, and it's ready to shoot. And so that is really important for me. By the way, this one is even cheaper. This one, 120 centimeter rectangular softbox, and that is like 53 pounds including shipping. It's like a ridiculous price for this quality. And so that clicks into place, and then I'm ready to shoot. So and so that brings me to my next point, which is the setup time for this. So the setup time must be quick. With some softboxes, with some lights, the setup time can be ridiculously slow. If you have to like start threading all the different poles into the softbox and connecting it up and stuff like that, literally I have seen softbox kits that even after a bit of practice would take like 20 minutes per softbox. And then so a kit of 3 would take an hour plus to set up the lights. Next up is that this thing has to be cool, and it can't, I won't use lights that get so hot that they could burn me or burn someone or be a fire risk, or simply heat up the environment to the point where it's not fun to shoot and it's sort of, everyone's sort of sweating and stuff. This thing runs basically completely cool. So we do have some heat right there. So for example, right now at minimum power, we have around, we'll get around 60 to 80 Celsius right there. By the way, with the fan change, I did check that after I changed the fan, I wasn't, you know, overheating the light. It was still the same sort of heat. And so, yes, this thing heats up very quickly and then gets to its maximum within a few seconds and then doesn't get any hotter after that. So, so we're just sort of at a 60 Celsius sort of range. And then when we go up to maximum, then we'll get something more like 180 Celsius. That is very hot, but it's very hot at a very small point. So here it's cool. It's completely cool to the touch, and you know, it might get slightly warm there, but you barely even call it warm. And then right here, if you put your hand in, then you can feel the heat. And then the only thing you don't want to touch is you don't want to poke the LED, because the LED itself gets hot. Don't poke the LED and don't put anything on the LED. But apart from that, it's lovely. And then of course we do have the option here. A lot of people do want an option to go what they call bare bulb, meaning no modifiers at all, and that works better for a lot of modifiers. So that's a specific thing that a lot of people want, or at least some people want, especially in the photography world. And of course, this is a light that I'm going to be using for photography. It's a video light, but I don't even use flashes for photography except for weddings. This is what I use for my sort of more, I would say, more creative sort of shoots, where I'm more sort of set up and that kind of thing, and I have time to set up and space to work with these kind of lights. That I use these for photography, not flashes, because these allow me to shape my light and see it as I'm working with it, and tweak my lights and actually see them as I tweak it, rather than photography lights where you'd have to take a photo to see what your lights look like when it's a flash. The next point here is that it's fast to set up, which, as I showed you there, is very important, and for me that is very important. I won't shoot with something that takes ages to set up if I can avoid it. This thing is compact enough that I can take this with a complete kit of accessories that I need, and I can fit that into one case with enough space for extra things like a tripod and slider. So having the ability to fit a complete kit of high power lights into one case with, you know, with the accessories and a reflector and 3 soft boxes, and the weight here is also great, 2 point something kilograms. You know, it's really quite nice. We have no flickering. Some lights, you think it's great, and then you shoot, and then you have a bunch of lines on your image and your whole shoot is screwed. So no flickering at just regular uses without, you know, going to like very high shutter speeds, and that's great. It's perfect, you know, no issues there. Some remote systems are better than others. This is not perfect, but one of the best that I've seen. So you've got a little screen there, and it actually shows you what your brightness is on the lights that you're controlling right now. So you have a little button there, and then you can, when you press that, you're able to then control what group this is in. So this light could be part of 2 groups. This light, I could say, this is part of my backlights, but it's also part of my left lights. And so then I could go, okay, I want all my left lights to dim by whatever. And then I could, even without any changes to the setup, I could press one button and then go, okay, now I want all my backlights to go upwards a bit. And this would be included in both of those if I wanted it to be. So that's freaking awesome. And one of the things I love about it is that the battery is, first of all, not something that's difficult to find. It's just a standard AAA batteries. You have an on-off button, but this has been on for a month and it still hasn't run out. By the way, it does have that feature that you saw earlier, which allows it to jump from minimum to maximum, or from anywhere in the middle that you set it to maximum brightness. The thing that this is missing is on-off capability. And so that is, I guess, because this has a physical power switch. And so with that physical power switch, you know, we're not able to turn it off from the remote. And now this isn't a big issue because it doesn't take any more effort to carry a second remote. And all that requires is some of these. There's loads of different companies that make these. These are the Energenie ones. And so I'm not sure if these are the ones I would recommend, but, you know, I'll post a review about these at some point. You know, these don't add much weight or size to my kit, and they just have, I can have them on each individual light at the end of the connection. And then with this, I would want one of these that has the option to turn off each light individually, and the option to turn everything off. That's absolutely no problem for me to carry a second remote. It doesn't weigh anything, it's just on my belt, like on a little clip or something. So that is fine. Let's get over to the things that I think could be improved. Well, I would love to see one of these that can also run on battery power. For £100, I'm going to have a second lighting kit. This is around £100. These things can then separate into individual lights when needed. There it is at full power. So it's nowhere near as powerful, but it's low cost, and it just allows me to, when needed, have a compact kit to take with me and use just as a battery powered one. Now, another thing I would like to see improved in a future version of this light is I would like to be able to have this go even dimmer than it will go right now. And that's not really a big issue, but it would be nice so that I could get the softbox really, really close to my subject sometimes. You know, sometimes I would literally have the softbox this close to someone to get a really soft light on them. And so again, that's not a big issue, but sometimes when I'm that close, I'd want this thing to be much dimmer than the other lights in the room. And sometimes I would like to mix this with very weak lights. So, you know, maybe tiny little LEDs for effect somewhere, or things like that, that on occasion are very weak. And so I can actually still do that with this unit very easily, but it would have been even easier if it will go down dimmer. And the way that I would do that with this unit, if it's too bright for a certain scenario, is I would use something, for example, like this black wrap, and just place it in the place where I place gels, and then I can make this as super dim as I want if it's ever needed. And it is very nice and easy to do when I just open up the Velcro from this sort of back opening here. Before we go, we're going to take a look at one more thing, the actual power usage here. 35 watts minimum power, and if we go up to maximum, gives us 118 watts. With the brightness of this light and with the power consumption of this light, they're actually giving us more than they promise in the specs, and that's freaking awesome. And I love this light, and I love the accessories that are available from Pixapro, and there's nothing I could recommend more than this for lighting. I'm absolutely in love with this light, and I'm going to be getting a kit of these, and I'm going to post a part 2 sometime soon. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope I've gone over everything here. I apologize if this video was a bit long, but as you saw, there was a lot of things to go over. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye. Vacuum cleaning. Coochie, coochie, coochie.